The light drops. Two engines scream and the whole car lunges. You're thrown back into the seat, and the streetlights ahead smear into one long white line. You're 14, in the passenger seat of your cousin Marco's Civic, close enough to feel the engine come up through the floor. You're not driving. It doesn't matter. Your hands are flat on the dash, and the road is coming at you faster than your eyes can keep up. The check engine light is taped over with a strip of black electrical tape. The shift knob is a die his ex left behind. Next to you at the line there's a Mustang with one working headlight, revving like it wants to start a fight. Marco doesn't look at it. He watches the light. When it drops he's already gone, and the Mustang is a shape shrinking in the side mirror. 200 yards later he lifts. There's a speed camera on the bridge he knows about, and the Mustang driver doesn't. You watch the Mustang blow past, straight into the flash. Marco laughs the whole way home. He drops you home at 1 in the morning. Your mom's light is off. You go up the stairs one at a time so the third one doesn't creak, and you lie in bed with your heart still going like you ran the whole way. You film nothing. There's nothing to show. But you replay those 11 seconds in your head until the sky goes gray. You never forget the first time a car scares you and you like it. Your first car costs $800 and 2 of the 4 gears work. It's a hatchback the color of a bruise. First gear grinds. Fourth doesn't exist. The previous owner threw in a milk crate for a passenger seat and a phone charger that only works if you hold it at an angle. You work nights stacking pallets in a warehouse that smells of cardboard and forklift diesel. 6 weeks of it buys a used catback exhaust off a forum, from a guy 2 towns over who meets you in a Walmart parking lot at 10 at night. You fit it yourself on a borrowed floor jack, flat on your back on cold concrete. When it fires up, it's the loudest thing you own. A neighbor's window opens. You shut the engine off. You're grinning anyway. You teach yourself in an empty industrial lot at 2 a.m., between a tire shop and a place that makes garage doors. Lunch bag stall. The whole car shudders like it's trying to talk you out of it. 2 older guys start showing up to watch. They lean on a fender and say nothing. A security guard watches from his booth. He's seen 100 kids do this. He turns back to his phone. You learn the bite point by feel in the dark, with the radio off so you can hear the engine. You learn which corner of the lot has the pothole. You learn that the clutch smells like burning toast right before it gives up. By the end of the month, you can launch clean 9 times out of 10. The 10th time you stall right in front of them and one of them just nods. Not laughing. Filing you away for later. You drive home in third because second stopped working on Tuesday. It's fine. You only need 1 gear to feel like this. Every legend learns to stall in an empty parking lot at 2 a.m. A stoplight on the edge of town, half past midnight. A lowered Golf pulls up in the next lane, GTI badge, aftermarket exhaust burbling. The driver looks over. You look back. Nobody says anything. Nobody out here talks with their mouth. He blips the throttle. You blip yours. The light goes yellow for the cross traffic. Then it drops. He's gone before you've found the bite point. You chase him for a quarter mile, engine screaming in third, and he beats you by 3 car lengths without breaking a sweat. You should feel stupid. You don't. You were in it. For a quarter mile you were actually in it. You pull into the McDonald's parking lot where everyone ends up after, and 2 guys leaning on a barrier watch the whole thing from the overpass. One of them says your launch was late but your nerve was fine. The other one asks what you're running. You tell him. He whistles low like $800 is a funny number, which it is. By the weekend, people you have never met know your car. Not your name. Your car. The bruise-colored hatchback that chased a GTI and didn't lift. You don't tell anyone at school. You sit in math class and think about the bite point. You didn't win. They learned your name. That's the win. Now you have a crew. 4 of you, 5 cars between you because Deshon keeps buying and selling. You have a spot behind the strip mall, and a phone that buzzes at midnight with a location and nothing else. You always go. You win some. You lose more than you win, but you win the ones that matter, against people who talk too much beforehand. You've learned that a $50 side bet turns a friendly pull into a war, and that your hands shake worse waiting for the money than waiting for the light. There's a night you pull a modded Subaru WRX on the highway and take it by a bumper, and Deshon films the whole thing hanging out of a passenger window, screaming. Deshon is the loud one. He flips cars all week. Buys a wreck on Monday, sells it by Thursday, undercuts everyone, puts the profit straight into tires he shreds by Sunday. He calls you the professor because you never say a word before a race. You've rebuilt the hatchback twice. It has 3 working gears now and a hood that doesn't match. You know the sound it makes right before it does something expensive. Then one night the first time, blue lights in the mirror at the top of the on-ramp. You don't decide to run. Your right foot decides for you. You take the second exit, kill the headlights for 4 seconds on a road you know in the dark, cut through the strip mall, and sit at a loading dock with the engine off and your heart in your ears until the sirens go somewhere else. You get away. You spend the whole drive home laughing, alone at nothing. The first time you outrun the police, you feel more alive than you ever have. That should scare you. A corner you've taken 100 times. Except it's raining, and Deshon is in the passenger seat with his phone out, filming, laughing at something you said. The back end steps out. You catch it. It steps out again. You catch it again. The third time you don't. You don't remember the wall. You remember the sound, and then a nurse asking you what year it is. The car you spent 2 years building is a single photograph. A police officer slides across a table. You barely recognize it. Deshon is in the bed next to yours. He'll walk again. Not this year. He was filming, so he never saw it coming, so he never braced. He doesn't post the video. He doesn't say much at all. You brought him. You keep coming back to that. You brought him. The wall wasn't the scary part. The quiet after was. You come back on a Tuesday. You're not supposed to. There's still a brace on your wrist, and the doctor said the word lucky more than once. The insurance barely covers the tow. You spend it on a rolling shell nobody wanted, an old Supra, and you build it back the slow way in a rented garage, one part at a time. Meaner than the beater. Quieter. The first night it runs, you take it to the lot where you learned alone, and you do launches until 3 a.m. like you're 16 again. Staying away had started to feel like a lie you were telling everyone, including yourself. You're different now. You stop taking runs you can't win. You stop talking beforehand. You turn up, you look at the road, you drive, you leave. Now the meat goes silent when you pull in. The guy everyone was scared of ran a wide-body GTR and hadn't lost in the city in 2 years. They called him Cobra, which he chose himself, which tells you something. He put money on it. A lot of money in front of everyone at the strip mall. You beat him on an on-ramp by half a car length. Clean. No drama. He shakes your hand and can't look at you. You don't celebrate. You put the money in your pocket and you drive home, and you sit in the car in the driveway for a while before you go in. Your phone won't stop buzzing after that. You're the one people want a piece of now. You came back faster. You know exactly what made you faster. You don't say it out loud. Nobody's beaten you in the city in over a year. There are clips of your car everywhere. On the drift pages, on the reels, on a t-shirt someone printed without asking. And not one clear shot of your face. You keep it that way. You cover the plate with a magnetic panel you made yourself. You change the meat spot every week now, over an app that deletes the message after you read it. You park 3 streets away and walk. You've started clocking which cars on your own road don't belong. The ones that sit too long with 2 people in the front and no groceries in the back. At work, you're the quiet guy in logistics who doesn't come to the Christmas thing. Your manager has no idea. Your mom thinks you sold the car years ago. You let her. There's a girl. Her name is Chloe, and she thinks you drive for a delivery app on the nights you disappear. You've told her so many small lies they've started to feel like furniture. You leave her cousin's birthday early because a spot got compromised, and a message says move now. She stops asking where you go. That's worse than when she asked. A kid at a gas station recognizes the car, not you, and asks if you've ever met the driver. You say no. You say you heard he's mad. The kid agrees, delighted, and films the car as you pull away. You are the most famous driver in the city, and you eat dinner alone. The whole city knows the car. Nobody can point to the man. 2 offers land the same week. The first is a promoter. A real track an hour out of the city. A roll cage, a fireproof suit, a number on the door, tech inspection, marshals, an ambulance on standby that you hope stays bored. Legal. Small money. Your face on a poster with your actual name under it for the first time in your life. The second is a phone call at 2 a.m. The biggest run anyone has ever put together. 6 figures on the line, a sealed stretch of highway, 1 shot, no cameras. The kind of thing people will still be arguing about in bars in 20 years. You think about the track for exactly 1 night. You imagine the poster. You imagine your mom seeing it. You imagine standing behind a barrier being safe and being ordinary. You call the 2 a.m. number back. A track gives you a trophy. The street gives you a story. You were never in it for the trophy. Closed stretch of highway. 3 a.m. Headlights at both ends to seal it off. Spotters on every bridge with radios. A mile and a half of empty tarmac that belongs, for the next 90 seconds, only to you. Your hands are dry. Your hands are never dry. Tonight they are dry. The light drops one last time. The city smears. The engine stops being a sound and becomes a weight on your chest. The needle climbs past 180, and the whole world narrows to 2 white lines and the small dark shape of the end. You win. The clip is everywhere by morning. 2 million views before you've had breakfast. You are officially the fastest name in the city. 2 of the ones you started with are in prison. One of them can't walk right and you were driving. The rest got jobs and kids and garages that stay shut. You're the last one still running, and there's nobody from the beginning left to say your name out loud. A legend is just a name the people who knew you can't say anymore. Somewhere across the city tonight, there's a red light on the edge of town. 2 cars idling. A boy of about 14 in the passenger seat of one of them, hands flat on the dash. The light is about to drop. You know exactly what's about to happen to him. You know all of it, the whole 18 years, the wall in the rain, the dinner you eat alone. You could lean over. You could tell him. You don't. If you want to see where that kid ends up, subscribe. And tell me in the comments which life I should take from 0 to insane next.